David Carradine stands at the back of Bruce Lee's funeral when Linda Lee walks straight toward him and says 5 words that stop his heart. "You should not be here." What happens in the next 3 minutes does not end in anger. It ends with a promise that David keeps for the rest of his life. Seattle, Washington, July 25, 1973. Wednesday afternoon, 2:15 p.m., Lakeview Cemetery. A hillside covered in green grass and gray headstones. The sky overcast. Seattle weather. The kind of clouds that cannot decide whether to rain or just hang there, making everyone uncomfortable. 200 people gathered around a fresh grave. Black suits, black dresses, sunglasses hiding red eyes. The funeral of Bruce Lee, 32 years old, the most famous martial artist in the world, dead from a cerebral edema that no one saw coming. The front rows are reserved for family. Linda Lee in black, holding herself together because someone has to. Her children too young to understand why everyone is crying. Bruce's mother devastated, his siblings in shock. Behind them the famous faces, Steve McQueen, James Coburn, George Lazenby, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar towering over everyone. Students from Bruce's schools, friends from Hong Kong, people who loved him, people who learned from him, people whose lives he changed, and in the very back row, standing apart from everyone else, wearing a dark suit and darker sunglasses, trying to be invisible, David Carradine. He should not be here. He knows it. Everyone knows it. The man who got the role Bruce Lee created. The man who became famous playing a Shaolin monk while the real martial artist was rejected for being too Chinese. The man whose face appears on television every week in a role that should have belonged to the man in that coffin. He almost did not come, spent 2 days arguing with himself. What right do you have? What will people think? What if someone makes a scene? But something pulled him here. Guilt, respect, the need to pay tribute to a man he never met but owes everything to. The need to stand in the presence of what was lost, even if he is the symbol of why it was lost. So he stands in the back, head bowed, hoping no one notices. People notice. Whispers spread through the crowd like wind through grass. Is that Carradine? What the hell is he doing here? He has some nerve. Steve McQueen turns around, sees David. His jaw tightens, but he says nothing. Turns back to the grave. James Coburn looks. His eyes narrow with something that might be hatred. He shakes his head slowly, deliberately. A message. David sees it all, absorbs it all, stays anyway. Because leaving now would be worse, would be admitting he does not belong. And maybe he does not belong. But he is here, and he will not run. The service proceeds. Eulogies, tears, stories about Bruce that make people laugh through their crying. The preacher speaks about lives cut short and legacies that endure. About a man who moved like water and changed everything he touched. David listens, learns things about Bruce Lee he never knew. The philosophy, the kindness, the way he treated students like family, the way he saw martial arts as a path to something deeper than fighting. He thinks about Kung Fu, about the character he plays every week, Kwai Chang Caine, the wandering monk. Created by Bruce Lee, performed by David Carradine, the gap between creation and performance, the gap between deserving something and receiving it. The service ends. People begin to disperse, small groups forming, conversations continuing. No one approaches David. He is an island of silence in a sea of grief. He waits, watches the crowd thin. When most people have moved toward their cars, he walks slowly toward the grave, toward the flowers piled around fresh earth, toward the headstone that reads, Bruce Lee, Nov 27, 1940, July 20th, 1973. He stands there alone, looking down at the grave of a man he never met. What do you say? What can you say? Sorry I took your role. Sorry I benefited from your rejection. Sorry I am alive and you are dead. He says nothing, just stands there, head bowed, paying whatever respect he can. But then footsteps behind him. He turns, Linda Lee, walking directly toward him, her face pale, her eyes red, but something else there too, something hard. David's stomach drops. She stops 3 feet away, close enough to speak quietly, far enough to maintain distance. You should not be here. The words hit like punches. David swallows. I know. I needed to. Needed to what? He does not have an answer, or has too many answers, none of them adequate. Linda stares at him, taking his measure, deciding something. Everyone told me you would not come, that you would be too ashamed, too scared of what people would think. I almost did not, but you came anyway. David nods. Why? Because... He pauses. Because I owe him something. I do not know what exactly, but something. And I thought if I did not come, I would regret it forever. Linda's expression shifts, the hardness cracking slightly. Do you know what Bruce said about you? David shakes his head. She takes a breath. Last month, we were watching television. Kung Fu came on. I changed the channel. I always did. I could not stand to see. She stops, collects herself. But Bruce stopped me, said leave it on. David waits, afraid to speak. We watched a whole episode. At the end he said something I did not understand. He said Carradine is a good man, wrong place at the right time, or maybe right place at the wrong time. Either way, not his fault. David's eyes sting behind his sunglasses. Linda continues. I asked him how he could say that. After everything. After being rejected. After watching someone else play his character. He smiled. That Bruce smile. Said holding anger is like holding a hot coal. You are the one who gets burned. She pauses. He said he forgave you a long time ago, for something you did not even do. David cannot speak. His throat closed. Linda steps closer. I was not sure I could forgive. It is easier for the person who has the philosophy. Harder for the person who has to watch them live it. I wanted to hate you. Part of me still does. She looks at the grave, then back at David. But then you came here today, when everyone told me you would not, when it would have been easier to stay away, to avoid the looks, the whispers. You came anyway. Her voice breaks slightly. That took courage, or stupidity. Bruce would have said they are the same thing. David finds his voice. I did not know what else to do. I needed him to know, somehow. That I understood what was taken. You understood. Not everything. Not like he did. But enough to know I was standing on ground someone else cleared. Wearing clothes someone else sewed. Playing a part someone else created. Linda nods slowly. Then I need you to do something. Anything. Keep his name alive. David frowns. Not understanding. Every interview, every press event, every time someone asks about Kung Fu, about martial arts, about Eastern philosophy, you say his name, Bruce Lee. You remind them where it came from, who really created it. You do not let them forget. David straightens. I will. You promise. I promise. Linda holds his eyes, searching for sincerity, finding it. He forgave you. Now I forgive you. But only if you keep that promise. I will keep it. Every interview, every chance I get. Bruce Lee. I will say his name until people are tired of hearing it. Something shifts in Linda's face, the hardness dissolving. Something like peace settling in its place. Good. She turns, starts to walk away, then stops, turns back. One more thing. David waits. In your show, that meditation pose, the way you sit with your hands. Bruce taught that to a friend who taught it to your choreographer. You did not know that, did you? David shakes his head. Every time you do that pose, every week, Millions of people watch. They do not know they are learning from Bruce Lee, but they are. Through you. She almost smiles. Maybe that is enough. Maybe that is how he lives on. Not through anger about what was taken, but through what passes through you to everyone watching. She walks away, toward the other mourners. Toward the life she has to rebuild without him. David stands alone at the grave. He pulls off his sunglasses, looks down at the headstone. I will keep my promise. He meant it, and he kept it. For the next 36 years, until the day he died, David Carradine mentioned Bruce Lee in almost every interview he gave. When journalists asked about Kung Fu, he talked about Bruce. When they asked about martial arts, he credited Bruce. When they asked about Eastern philosophy and Western entertainment, he named Bruce as the pioneer. Some interviewers got annoyed. They wanted to talk about David. He kept talking about Bruce. Some publicists tried to stop him, said it undermined his own brand. He did not care, because a promise made at a grave is not a marketing decision. It is a debt, and David Carradine paid it every chance he got. In 2004, when Kill Bill made him famous again, interviewers asked about his career resurrection. He talked about Bruce Lee, about how Kill Bill was a tribute to the martial arts films Bruce inspired, about how he wished Bruce could see what his legacy had become. They asked about him. He answered about Bruce. That was the promise. That was the payment. Linda Lee heard about it. Over the years, the interviews, the constant mentions, the way David Carradine never let the world forget who really created the kung fu craze in American entertainment. She never spoke to him again after that day at the cemetery. Did not need to. He was keeping his word. That was enough. When David Carradine died in 2009, Linda Lee released a statement. Short, private, but it said something unexpected. David Carradine kept a promise he made to me 36 years ago. He kept Bruce's name alive. Whatever else is written about him, I will remember that. The man who showed up when everyone expected him to stay away. The man who promised and delivered. Rest in peace, David. Bruce would have forgiven you long ago. I forgave you that day at the cemetery. Now I hope you can forgive yourself. 3 minutes at a graveside. A promise made to a widow. A lifetime of keeping that promise. That is what guilt can become when you choose to transform it. Not silence, not avoidance, not pretending it does not exist. Action, daily, relentless, until the debt is paid. He once said that the hardest role he ever played was not Cain, not Bill, but himself. A man caught between what he pretended to be and what he wanted to become. And maybe that is why his story still resonates, because we all know that feeling, the gap between the mask and the face beneath it. Is there a moment in your life where someone saw through your mask, or a moment where you finally took it off yourself? David Carradine walked through Hollywood for 50 years, carrying questions most people never ask out loud, about authenticity, about legacy, about what it means to be real in a world that rewards pretending. If you want to know the real stories, the ones they did not put in the interviews, you are in the right place. We are peeling back the curtain on the man behind the monk. If this story moved you, hit that like button. It helps more people discover these untold moments. Do not forget to subscribe to David Carradine, The Untold Path. We are just getting started. There are stories about Tarantino, about the father who died in his arms, and about the Hollywood that tried to forget him. You do not want to miss what is coming next. Leave a comment below. What is your favorite David Carradine role? And did you know he carried this much weight behind the calm? I will see you in the next video. Walk the path.